All right, so now we know how to create a data frame and we have the basic understanding of Pandas. Let's go ahead and read some external data into Pandas and see how it works. For example, here I have the file that contains the details of the cars, obviously the name of the car, the year, the manufacturing year, the selling price, the important column, kilometer driven, how many kilometers this car has driven, its fuel type, its seller type, and so on and so forth, right? So we have a lot of information over here. So what I'm going to do is, this file has tons of data, right? So what I want is I want to load this data into my Python environment by using Pandas. So what I will do is I'll go to the folder where this data is already residing. Now, there are two things to keep in mind. My Python file, the coding file, here you see python.ipynb. This is my Python notebook. This Python file and the data file, they both are in the same folder. So if this is the case, then what do I have to do? I just have to copy the name of the file, including the extension .csv, and I'll come over here in the coding environment and I'll say, let's say my data frame is equal to pd dot. Now pd is going to be the class name and dot is going to be its some member. So pd dot read underscore csv, and then in the brackets I'll pass the file name, right? And here I'll show the data frame. Let me run it. So here we go. The data has been loaded into our Python environment, and here you see the data. We have name of the car, year, selling price, and so on and so forth. Now this is one scenario. Now what if this data file is available in some other folder, right? Somewhere else in the computer. So let me create a new folder over here. Let me call it data. Okay. And let me close this file so that I can shift it. I don't want to save it. So I'm going to save this file. I'm going to shift this file into data folder. If I'll go inside the data folder now, the file is available inside the data folder, and the data file is available. The coding file is available in some other folder, and the data file is available in some other folder. So in that case, I'll copy this address, right? I'll click over there. I'll copy this. I'll say right click, copy. I'll come back, and what I will do is I'll write R. R means we are going to read the data. And then inside the parenthesis, inside the string mark, I'll paste the address, right? This is the address, right? After the address, I'll write another backslash. If we're working in Windows, then backslash. If you're working in Mac OS, then /. So backslash and then the file name. Remember, file name has to be accurate, uppercase, lowercase, and extension of file should also be added over here at any cost. Otherwise, there will be an error, right? So if I load it now, yeah, it is working perfectly fine. So again, if coding file and data file are in the same folder, then only file name is enough. But if they are in some separate folders, then the file path is also mandatory to add. So now we have data available over here. Huge data file. Overall, we have 8,128 rows and 13 columns, right? There's a summary of the data. Now, if I say df, what is df? Df is our data frame, right? In which we read the whole data, right? So I'll say data frame dot head. Now, what is this head? Head is a method of this data frame object, which is the pandas object, right? So here I'll say data frame dot head. So by default, it shows me head means top 5 rows. And if I'll pass some parameter in it, let's say 10 or maybe let's say 7, then it will show me 7 rows or 10 rows or whatever parameter I'll pass over there. And if I'll pass no parameter, then by default, it will show me top 5 rows. Same goes out if I say data frame dot tail, then it will show me the bottom 5 rows. And if I'll pass any parameter over here, let's say 3, then it will show me bottom 3 rows. And by default, it shows us how many bottom 5 rows. Then we have another method that says df.info. Info means information. So if we want to get some summary, some information about the dataset overall, a very high level overview, then here we go. We have the column names available, all 13 column names. Then their data types, respective data types. So year is an integer, selling price is an integer, number of seats is in floating point, which is very strange. Seats I haven't seen a car so far that has roughly 5.5 seats or 2.9 seats, right? So it has to be a whole number like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, something like that. And then you might be seeing a lot of object over here, object. So object data, you will see object data type whenever in any particular column, there's a mixture of string and numbers and some other special characters. For example, over here in name column, we have string, but we also have number as well. So it is mentioned as object over here, right? For example, this mileage column, it is also object, right? Mileage should be in integers, but here you see this is the mileage column. So mileage column contains 19.3 kmpl. So it is the combination of string and integers, string and floating point. Sorry, that is why it is an object, right? And then this column shows non-null count. Overall, how many rows do we have? Where is it defined? 8, 1, 2, 8, right? So it says this column, name column, has 8, 1, 2, 8 non-null values, which means there is no null value. Null value means missing value, right? So no value is missing. No value is missing in any of these columns. But if we come to mileage, it says 7907 non-null values, which means rest of the values are null values. So there are some missing values over here in these columns. Now, how to deal with those missing values? We'll come to that point later on. But yeah, we have some missing from this DataFrame.info method. We can figure it out how many values are missing. Which values are missing? We'll see later on. Now you might be wondering that, okay, fine, this is the info method. We have head method, tail method, but how do we know which methods are available for a particular library? So there are 3 ways. One way is to use help method. There's a built-in method in Python that is called help. So you will pass any object into it. For example, I'll pass data frame into it. I'll run it. It will show me the whole documentation of data frame. So which methods, which attributes, whatever is available for the data frame, it is listed over here along with its whole definition of each and every method. I mean, that's a long documentation that we can read. You can read it out at your end. Its examples, everything is available, right? Cool. That is one way. And by the way, help can also be used for, let's say, if I want to check out which methods are available for string. So it will show me these methods are available for string. So we can check it out over here. Another way, we can come to ChatGPT anytime. So we can say list down, let's say, most commonly used methods of Pandas DataFrame. Okay, so if I run it, it will show me all the methods that are very commonly used in Pandas. Otherwise, overall, if I print out all the methods, there are tons of methods. So yeah, the top 3 commonly used methods are the ones that we have already used, right? For example, this head method returns first n rows of the data frame. Tail method gets us the last n rows. Then we have info method that displays summary of the data frame. Then we have describe method as well that provides summary statistics for numerical columns only. We have shape method, columns method. I mean, you can read it out at your end as well. So that is, second way to figure out which functions are used for which thing. By the way, let's go ahead and use this describe function quickly, and then we'll come to the third point. Where should I add? Okay, let's go over here. So we have data frame. Yeah. So if I say data frame dot describe, run it. Here we go. So all the numerical data, any column which is a numerical data type, they are listed over here along with its statistical summary, along with its statistical description. For example, in year column, we have these many count of values. And selling price, we have these many count. Then this is the mean or average values of these columns, standard deviations, minimum, maximum, and all the things are listed over here, right? So 2 methods, help method, and we have learned 2 ways, help method, and the second one is ChatGPT. Third one is we can always go for documentation. We can always check for documentation. So Pandas documentation, right? So the first link that says pandas.pydata.org, and we can go to its documentation. So this thing, which is the official documentation of Pandas, here you will find the updated latest you can say documentation related to Pandas, right? So these are 3 ways how you can find out the details of any particular library. So yeah, we are able to load the data so far. We are able to get started with how to use different functions of Pandas. And in next video, we'll see how to fetch data depends upon, for example, so far we have only learned how to get top 5 rows or bottom 5 rows, right? What if we need to get randomly any particular number of rows? How to do that? We'll see. And what if and how do we work with slicing over data frames? We'll see.